Welcome to another episode of Homestead Shop Talk podcast with Al from Lumnah Anchors, Ben from Hollar Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. And this is episode 57. And if you're watching this on YouTube, that's a green, grassy green screen in back of my back of me. I'm actually outside doing this podcast, which I thought would be, I don't know, a change of scenery, I guess. And it's actually a decent night as far as it's not like blazing hot. I just hope it doesn't rain, but we'll see. How you guys been?
A little sore today.
Good week.
Yeah, it's been a busy weekend.
That's good.
What about you? How was your week,
hay
Jason?
all over me.
It was good. It was busy, always, but it wasn't super crazy, I felt. Are you dried out over there, Al?
We are for now, but we're supposed to be getting a half inch of rain tonight, and then like a quarter of an inch of rain tomorrow, and then there's like 3 or 4 days of lots of rain.
Okay.
We need to send it your way, don't we? Still, you guys still need it.
Yeah, we could use some more rain.
We've got some decent rain last night, though, for sure.
How much water's in your water catchment system now?
I'm almost at 800 gallons.
Oh wow!
So I mean that's throughout the week. Like it's rained a little bit at least throughout the week. So little by little, and then last night it rained really good. So yeah, probably like 2 weeks ago it was at 300 gallons. So little by little it's been filling up.
That's awesome. I'm waiting to hear the pigs outside with you, Jason.
No, I know they're far enough away, and the rain's feeding them right now. So tell them to be quiet. I might get bit up by mosquitoes out here, but you know.
Yeah, that's the real danger. It's not the rain that you got to watch out for. As soon as that sun goes down, the mosquitoes get horrible. We were out picking some blackberries last night.
Yeah, by the end of the podcast, I'm going to be all wet, full of sweat. I'm just start drenching.
How have the flies been down there this year?
Flies?
Yeah.
I don't think it's been bad.
No. We haven't had too many mosquitoes, but the flies have been bad up here.
Flies have been kind of bad this year for us, but nothing compared to last year when we had a cow, or the past 2 years. I guess that they look like a housefly, but they're itty bitty. We just called them cow flies. Never seen them before, and as soon as we got rid of the cow, we didn't have them anymore. But I hated those things. They would get into everything. Like if I was drinking a coffee or something, if I didn't put a cover on it, those suckers would just dive bomb straight into my coffee and drown. I can't tell you how many mornings. I get up early in the morning and I'm having a cup of coffee. It's kind of dark still, and I don't turn on any lights. And go to take a swig of coffee, and it's like something just went in my mouth that wasn't supposed to be in there. That's like I didn't put anything that floats in my coffee. Like that's always a great morning when you start out drinking a bug. It's like, well, I guess I'm making another cup of coffee.
Death by
Morning
caffeine.
protein.
Yeah. Who wants to go first as far as what fun things you guys did?
How about you, Jason?
All right, I'll go first.
Let's hear how your weekend went.
So this week we hosted another workshop this week. We only did, well, it was kind of two, I guess it was 2 workshops. We had 60 meat birds that we wanted to butcher that were ready. They're 8 weeks old. Cornish crosses. And first workshop we just had friends over. We had a family that we just met from church, and they're kind of new to the area, and they're looking for land, and they're from the city, and they didn't know how to butcher chickens or anything, so we figured we'd invite them. And I wasn't, if you invite somebody like that, unless they ask or question it, then you don't really know if they want to do something like that. Butcher a chicken. So they never asked us like, hey, but they've been over here. We showed them around. They seem interested in stuff that we're doing. So we're like, hey, why don't we invite them? And so they said, yeah. So them and their kids, they had like, I think 5. They had 5 kids. They're already a little bit old, like almost teenager kids. So they're already older, but they came and they helped us out. And I mean, we did 30 chickens. And we're done by noon, like completely done by noon, which I was surprised because it was just, me and Lorraine, and well, our daughter was there. She was doing it too. So it was actually a really good day. It wasn't. I was expecting to be a lot slower, but it actually turned out really well, and I think overall it was a good day. And then after that, the next day we had another workshop, and that was we had 3 people. That's the one where we opened it up to people signing up. Um, and we only had 3 people sign up, which is cool. And then we had family over. My father-in-law came over to help us out, and then friend Brian came to help us out, and we had another 30 to do, and we left 12 of those Cornish crosses because as we were doing it, even the day before, I was like, man, these you could kind you've done this long enough, you could kind of see a live chicken and be like, okay, that's kind of a small chicken. You're kind of aware of that, and so as we were doing them, I was like, man, these chickens are small. Like they don't look big at all. I mean, even after we, all the feathers are off, you're like, man, this is like skinny. It looked like maybe 3 pound chicken. And a bunch of them were like that. And so we decided to leave 12 of them. We tried to pick out the bigger ones. And it was just, I mean, they looked they looked like Cornish crosses, but they didn't in a sense that they looked healthy and they had all their feathers on them. So it was, I don't know. I was starting to question, like, maybe they're like a cross between something else because they were just so small. And so I don't know what that was.
The kids, anytime we're doing chickens, if there's always some that are small, and the kids refer
Yeah.
to those as the diet chickens. They don't eat like a normal meat
Yeah.
bird. They put themselves on a diet. They don't want to get huge, and so you always
Yeah.
get some in a batch.
For sure. Yeah, you always get like a few, but like a lot, like almost all of them seemed like that. So, I mean, the only thing I did different would give them minerals that I don't use, like vitamins and stuff that I had bought from Fur Trail that I hadn't done that before. And because at first I was like, oh man, these all the feathers are growing back. It must be those vitamins. But then I'm like, does that not make them eat too? Like no, like I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just a batch or maybe it was the heat.
I
I don't
think it
know.
was the batch. We had the same experience. We butchered ours this weekend, and it was the
So we got
same.
ours. Yeah. So you got ours. We got ours the same week then, Al. Right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. They were 9 weeks old, the ones we butchered.
Oh,
Looking
9 weeks.
back,
Oh,
9 weeks. Yep, because we usually try to keep them to like 9 to 10 weeks. So they get a little bigger, and they were. I'm gonna say they were average 4 pounds. There were some bigger ones, but some smaller ones. And then we kept some back. But yeah, they had a ton
yeah.
of feathers on them still. I don't know if you noticed it, but ours, some of them were long and narrow with tons of feathers, and then some of them were like basketballs with no feathers.
Yep.
I found that interesting
Yeah. I don't
because
know.
usually they're always all basketballs,
Right.
but we had basketballs and footballs this time.
They're like, those are the wrong chickens. We sent the wrong chickens. Yeah.
Right.
Those are actually really good egg layers.
Sent you a bunch of
Yeah, I don't know.
leghorns.
Yeah. So we still have the 12 that we kept, and I'm just gonna grow them another week or two and see how big they get. I really didn't want to do that, because you got all the equipment out. You had the help, we have the help, and I just want to butcher all these chickens now. But then we just decided let's just keep the 12, and then in another 2 weeks we're gonna do it again. And that aspect just kind of sucks because then you also got to feed them more and all that stuff. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But so those ones we put away. We put that meat away today. So we canned some. Like we did this all today. We canned chicken. We pieced them out. We kept some whole. We spatchcocked some, and we made like little broth kits, kind of from the carcasses. And even though the ones that we kept whole that we weighed, there was a lot of them that were like 3 pounds, which we put away like about 40 chickens, I think it was, maybe 35. And a lot of them were like 3 or 4 pounds. Versus the previous batch that we did early in the year, there were like, I mean, we had many that were like 6 pounders, 5 pounds, 4 pounds was like the lowest. So I don't know. I don't know what that was.
Maybe it's the heat. Maybe they don't want to eat when it's so hot. From just our experience, that's why we quit doing them in the summertime, is because it seems like they get bigger when they're having to eat to stay warm. I don't know. It'd be interesting to like actually sit down and like write out everything and do it for like, I don't know, do like a 5-year study, do it a couple times a year and just collect all that data and see if there really is something to it.
It could be. I mean, they ate all the feed. It's like I didn't feed them any less, but maybe just they didn't retain it or something. I don't know. They didn't. Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's probably the batch, probably the heat, all of the above, maybe. But it's just so bizarre. Like, what if we were raising hundreds of chickens at one time, like, and that happened? Like, we were trying to sell it. Like,
yeah, that'd be pretty frustrating.
Big time. So I don't know. Yeah, that would suck. But
if you go to the store and get chickens, they're usually small like that. Like I know, like usually when we give away chickens, they're like 5-6 pounders, and everybody's like, "What? I've never seen a turkey that size in the grocery store." Yeah. But I think we're all used to it because we kind of have like the knack of doing it. So when you don't get your 5 or 6 pound turkey, it's almost a turkey, but your chicken, it's like, man, I'm disappointed. But I think the average one at the store is probably like 3 or 4 pounds.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think if farmers are selling them at the farmer's market, say I would bet the 5 and 6 pounders are harder to sell than the 3 pounders.
Yep.
Because you're looking at what? I mean, that might be like a $35, $40 bird.
Right.
Oh yeah, easy.
That's a lot. Yeah. So maybe 3 pounders is what would be better. I mean, I don't know, but
well, that and something I've found, like anybody who's going to be buying chicken at that price point, because I mean, let's be honest, like this is organic fed pasture raised chicken. Like it does not get any better than this. If you're going to sell that kind of chicken, like there's a certain type of person who's looking for that kind of chicken, and a lot of times they don't have big families, so like a 5-pound chicken is intimidating. Like that's a bunch of meat if they're buying whole chickens. Now us, we're like, give us the 8-pound chickens. That's a meal plus leftovers.
But when you're raising them yourself, I think it's more cost effective to get them bigger because you don't got to buy the bird and do all the other stages. So it's like when you're doing it yourself, it's like, no, I want the bigger bird. It's more cost effective.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Even if you're a smaller family, like us, like that's like 3 dinners,
Right.
To think of it that way.
Man, it is a weird thing to have a table full of teenagers and realize we have to, if it's like a 3-pound bird, we're cooking 2 of them, and you just watch everybody like fill their plates and you watch those birds just disappear, and it's like, oh man, we got to grow more chicken.
Yeah. Yep. Always more. When does it stop? Yeah. So then after that, let's see. That was the main thing this week, was getting ready for those workshops, and I feel like it always takes up my week just kind of preparing for that. And then we had Lorraine's family, sisters. It was kind of unexpected, but they like drove from California all the way out here.
Wow.
Basically called her up and was like, we're on our way. And like 4 days later, they were here. So, I mean, they were only here for like a couple of days. So, but it was cool though, like we hadn't seen them in a while, like years. I want to say maybe like 5 years or so.
Wow.
So it was cool, like her parents were here and we just hung out, and we basically had Thanksgiving in July is what we called it. Because we still had one last turkey from last year that we knew we had to eat. And so we're like, this is the perfect day. So we said, let's just have Thanksgiving, because, I mean, when you're away from family like that, I mean, honestly, who knows when the next time we're going to see them, And so, while you're here, let's celebrate Thanksgiving, let's celebrate Christmas, and let's celebrate everyone's birthday all in one day. So yeah, it was cool. And, we just had a big feast and just hung out and showed them around the farm. And yeah, it was pretty low key. But yeah, I mean, I think that was about it. I think. What's that?
They've never seen your property before, then?
No.
No. That's cool.
No. So yeah, we showed them around. Like, they have kids, little kids that they came. So it's
Are
fun
they?
seeing like my nephews when they see like a bunch of land like that, like they just like go nuts. Like
I
whoa,
remember that
like a
feeling
park,
well.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun to see. Like Penelope was playing with them in the creek, and um, they're just hanging out. So which is fun.
Are they trying out North Carolina or just visiting?
No, just visiting. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure if they would ever leave, but I think they like the idea of it. But it's one thing that to visit, but the next thing to actually move.
Yeah, it's
You
kind
guys
of a
know.
big deal.
Yeah, it's a big commitment, or you really have to want to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think our family for the most part likes visiting, and we like having them over, so that makes it fun. But what else? So this week, I think don't hold me to it, everyone, but I think next week we're gonna be starting on this kitchen renovation,
I was
which
actually
our
going to
plan
ask when I saw
is.
you sitting outside. I was like, "Did you start the kitchen reno, and that's why you're sitting outside?"
Yeah, I didn't want to reveal it yet. No, it's like a blurred screen back here.
All demoed.
No, we haven't started it yet. This week, I think we're gonna plan on buying some stuff for it, like flooring, cabinets, and all that stuff, and try to get ready. And then next week is when we're gonna start, demoing stuff, painting and flooring and stuff like that. Uh, don't hold me
Where are
again.
you
Don't hold
getting
me
your
to that.
cabinets
But
from?
yeah, I'm thinking we're just gonna go to just hardware store around here, like Lowe's, maybe.
Yep.
Either Lowe's or Home Depot, probably. I mean, yeah, I looked at other sites and stuff like that online, but I don't know. I think we're just gonna get basic cabinets. Um, I think we're gonna kind of do what you have been, or what we did at the other mobile was have the open shelving up top and then have cabinets down below. Um, so try not to go crazy, but it's hard not to go crazy.
Yeah,
So
that's true. A renovation, if you're buying cabinets versus getting custom cabinetry built, like it's a difference of tens of thousands of dollars. Like custom cabinetry is
yeah,
ridiculous. That was what Meg's dad used to do. He owned a cabinet shop. And so Meg has always been like real up on prices. And it's like, how much would this cost to have a shop built? And she's like, tens of thousands of dollars. Home Depot's or Lowe's cabinets are fine for right now. So yeah, I feel your pain,
yeah,
and I don't hate them. Like
yeah.
they work.
Right. Yeah, I think it should be fine. So, like I think the biggest expense for us is going to be the flooring, because we want to redo the flooring in that part of our house, which is pretty much half the house, actually, half the living area, because it was carpet at one point, but we ripped that out, and there's like linoleum underneath there. So, of course, you can't just do the kitchen. You gotta, if you're ripping the counters out, you gotta do the flooring, and then you gotta paint, and then you gotta put recessed lighting, and then, all of the above, and then you redo the pantry area. So yeah, I'm hoping it would take me a week, but it might take 2 or 3.
Sounds like it's going to take maybe a
I
month.
don't know. Yeah, you would probably know better, Al.
Well, it always turns into more. You just got to expect it.
Yeah.
It's always a can of worms when you open stuff up. It seems like it's not. It's just like, oh, what else are we gonna find?
Yeah, so I hope it's not too bad of can of worms.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, we're gonna buy some stuff this week, and hopefully we'll start it beginning of next week, and create
like
content around that.
how much do you guys get into like colors and stuff? Like we pick out a color and like we commit to it. Some people will buy like the little like jars and they'll like do like a test color and try out like 10 different colors. For me, I'm like, that's too expensive. Those things cost lots of money to try out.
Yeah. So for us, we're pretty just white, like just this color, everything white. I mean, we painted the whole house pretty much when we first moved, and I still have a bunch of that paint. So we're just gonna paint all the walls the same color, cabinets, I mean, I don't even think I think we're just going to try to keep it like a wood color, or just natural wood. I mean, we'll see when we get them, but I mean, typically we're just like, let's just paint everything white and then go from there. We could always paint them a color if we wanted to, but typically it seems like all of our houses that we've ever had were all white walls and that's it.
Yep.
Nothing too, I don't think there's ever been like a color that we picked out for some reason. I think we just keep it easy.
And it's all about that grayish. It's kind of like a beigey gray.
Yeah.
That's about as far as we go into colors. It's like this wall behind me right here. It's a grayish. Other than that, we're the same way. Like, you paint everything white because white's easy. You can find white and paint over if you ding the wall or the kids scribble on the wall. Getting an exact match, unless you have your little color swath. Good luck.
Do you do white walls, Al, or you do colored ones?
We do. Gina likes grays. We have a lot of different grays in the house.
I'm telling you, it's all about the grays.
Yeah, that's what we have. The only reason why I don't like white is I usually have dirty hands and I touch everything. So
yep, I'm the same way. I think what's funny is
handprints everywhere.
There's certain places where I know it's 100% me with grubby hands coming in and touching stuff. It's easy to blame the kids. It's like, dirty kids coming in here. I understand the door's getting dirty, but like, I happen to notice like the shower curtain where I grab it to open and close it is looking really, really grungy. And it's like, that's exactly where I grabbed that shower curtain. That means that's my grubby hands dirtying up everything in this bathroom. Like, it's just stuff like that. Can't have nothing nice. And I'm the reason.
But I think that's pretty much it. My week this week. As far as I think coming up, I'm still working on this rain catchment thing, but yeah, I think that's about it. Hopefully we'll get going on some kitchen content. So how about you, Al? You do some earthwork this week?
We did do some earthwork. Yep. We've been busy checking out everything. So like I said last week, we went and checked out above the house, and we just found the road washed out. So everything was wet. So we got the 8.5 inches of rain from the storm, and then we got 3 inches of rain after the storm.
Jeez.
So the road up there, I hadn't mowed much. The road up because we've been having a lot of wild turkeys in the area. So I like keeping the tall grass to give them a place to hide from the coyotes. So I was like, well, now we need to go up there, mow the road, so that way it can dry out. We can get some dump trucks up here so we can haul in material. So I fixed up my flail mower. Been using it and I like it, but I was having some issues. I was always breaking off the blades. Well, somebody was telling me they had the skids on the side, and I was like, they're adjusted as high as they will, but it still kind of scalps. We got an email from a viewer, and they were like, if you don't set your flail mower on the skids, you tilt it backwards so it's riding on the back roller, and that's how you adjust your height. If you want like a higher mow, you just adjust it even more on the back roller. So
that makes sense.
Did that, and it made a huge difference for mowing. Yep. But I'm like, well, why do they got adjustments on the skids? Like, there's different bolt holes to raise and lower the skids. So I think my flail mower would be in a lot better condition if I would have known that from the beginning. So if anybody has a flail mower, adjust it so it's not riding on the skids and most of the pressure is on the back roller. It doesn't make sense, but it makes a huge difference when you're mowing.
I wonder how many people do that.
I know, right?
Or is it just you, Al?
Nah, I know somebody who's destroyed one, but I'm not sure why they destroyed it. But I'm like, I wonder if that was the reason it got destroyed. Because if you have it down, you can't like adjust the height, so it's just always like digging into the ground like a rototiller almost. So your knives are in there quite a bit, and it picks up rocks, and then your rocks can get jammed up inside. So then if it's raised up backwards, which you would think if it was supposed to be that way, the roller would be on the front, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But it does a lot better job mowing now. It does nice, even, less scalping. It'll mow the brush a lot better. Like, it's always done a good job, but like you could see like if your lawn wasn't flat, you'd have like a high and a low. I'm just like, oh, it's because my yard's not flat. Well, no, it was setup error.
Operator error.
Yep. So we got that all cleaned up, and we've actually had dry weather and we're able to start working on repairing some of the earthwork. But now we're getting rain, so it's kind of like, I don't know what it's going to look like in the morning. They're calling for a half-inch tonight. We're supposed to get 4/10 of that in 1 hour at 1 a.m. So it might be interesting in the morning.
Yeah. What about the roads around you? Are they all still working on?
They're all still getting worked on. Some of them are open, some of them aren't. There's some that they're still trying to do temporary bridges on. There's still a lot of houses in the areas that are affected. And I don't know if they're waiting for FEMA or what people are doing. So unfortunately, I think it's going to be a while for a lot of places. So Morgan Gold did a 24-hour live stream to raise money for his community. And I went on Sunday morning. Yeah, Sunday morning at 5:30, I went on that for a half hour. But he ended up raising $100,000 for everybody in the community, which I thought was kind of cool.
Wow, that's really
awesome,
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Go Morgan.
Yep.
Good job, buddy.
The town he lives in was one of the towns that got affected the most. I wouldn't say the only one. It's not the only one, but it got affected pretty hard. So there's a couple of towns by him that did, and then a few other ones over that way that got hammered hard. Another thing I found interesting, you're going to find this interesting, Ben. The path of the hurricane was the same path as the eclipse.
Yeah, I found that rather interesting too.
Told me that.
Yeah, that
Yep.
definitely an interesting little tidbit of information. I mean, I'm not superstitious, really. I believe in making your own luck, but that's one of those weird correlations, I guess. I don't know, a coincidence. I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Right. Yeah. Somebody showed me that, and they're like, "Oh, did you see this?" And I'm like, "Nope." But yeah, like in our area, anywhere that had like total totality or 99% totality got flooded. So I'm assuming it was that they showed it going the whole path up from Texas.
That was also
That was
a first of its kind hurricanes too. We've never had one that size that early in the season. It's just the start of hurricane season, and we've never had one make landfall that early. So it was just a weird storm. Like, it was a weird storm all the way around. We never get them that early. They never make landfall, that kind of stuff. Like, there's a whole list of all the firsts that storm was. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yep. And then, so I guess it hit Jamaica pretty hard. There was a local farm up here. They had people that were farming with them from Jamaica, workers, and they've been working and sending money back to Jamaica because Jamaica was hit with it. Well, the farm they work on got hit and is flooded out now. So it's like their homeland got flooded out, and now their place of work got flooded out. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Another kind of weird thing this week, I've never had this happen to me. I don't know if you guys have. I was asleep, passed out in my bed, and I don't know if it was a fly or if it was a mosquito or what kind of bug it was. I had a bug fly into my ear canal.
Oh.
Yeah. I woke up, I could feel it buzzing in there. It took me a little while. I had to get up. Like, when I'm going down the stairs, I'm like shaking it out of my head, and I got it. But my ear felt funny for like all night long because all the wings were flapping on my ear canal.
I don't think I've ever had that happen.
I've had an ant crawl in my ear while I was sleeping. I don't know if I've told that story or not on the podcast, but yeah, it's usually in like July, like June, July, when it starts getting dry, we start having ants start coming inside. And it was when we were still living in the RV, and like we went to go to bed, and I noticed some ants were trying to come in the window. And so like I cleaned them all off and got rid of them and all that stuff. But apparently I missed one. Well, I woke up at about, I don't know, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I could hear something. It sounds like, have you ever touched a microphone? And it's like this. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hearing inside my ear. And then all of a sudden, like I get up and I'm kind of like shaking my head, like what the heck is in my ear? And then this sucker bites me. And all of a sudden, like my head is on fire. And I'm waking Meg, and I'm just about in tears because it hurts so bad. So Meg, she sleeps and gets up. Yeah, all the way inside my ear. She goes running into the bathroom, and I think she got peroxide. I think that's what it was. And comes over, dropped some in my ear, and all of a sudden this ant must have let go, because all of a sudden it like kind of released. I tilt my head back over, and out like the tiniest little fire ant was in my ear. But yeah, my ear hurt for a couple days after that. Stupid thing crawled in my ear, crawled all the way back there, and found something that it didn't like. It's like, thanks a lot. Fire ants are jerks.
Oh man, I had a bee fly into my mouth one time. I was hiking. And I was with somebody, and we were talking, and then all of a sudden I saw this bee come towards me. I just thought, a bee was just gonna just walk, go right past me or something. But it kept going, and I kept talking, and it flew right in my mouth, and I was like, oh man, there's a bee in my mouth. And I opened up my mouth, and it flew back out, and I did not get stung. It was so bizarre.
Wait till you get woken up by a bug going in your ear. That's even more weird. Like you're sleeping. Yeah, and all of a sudden you hear like bzz, bzz, bzz in your ear. I was sticking tweezers in my ear to make sure the fly wasn't still in there. It's like, I don't want a bug. What happens if this bug gets stuck in my ear? What's going to go on?
Yeah. Oh man, you would
That's
think
like
that happened more often to people.
It's a new phobia for the listeners.
Yeah, once is enough for sure.
A good thing it wasn't a Japanese beetle.
Yep. Or a fire ant. I guess a fly's better than a fire ant by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So we've had our chicken. So we butchered chickens this weekend, but we've had our chicken plucker, I think, since like 2017. So I don't know if you guys have had to replace the fingers on any of your chicken pluckers yet.
Never. Not yet.
Never. So ours started, the fingers were all dried and were breaking. So they were like bent over. And last year where they'd break off while we were plucking chickens. So it took a little bit longer. So I had to order new ones. It wasn't a bad job, but
yeah. What kind of plucker do you got?
It's our Coops and More one. Back when we bought it, I think
we've had ours since that time. We've had ours since 2016. It's still going strong. I haven't had to change anything on it.
What color are your fingers?
They're black.
Okay, so the ones I had were like the latex brown. And now the new ones are black. So it's like they were a different material. I wonder if that's why they changed them. But,
yeah, maybe.
I mean, they just dried out. Like when I was going to take them off, like you would just bend them over and they just break right off. So you didn't you just break them in half and they'd fall off. You wouldn't have to pull them apart. It made it easy to take everything apart. But,
I bet.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if that's the only thing wrong with the plucker, that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I can't complain. We got, how many years is that? 7 years out of it. We had to spend, we had to spend another $100, I think, for fingers. So
yeah,
that's not bad at all.
Complain about that. No.
You got one plucker or two pluckers?
We have a backup, too.
You have a backup?
Yeah, because we never want to get stuck without a plucker.
Yeah.
It's kind of where I'm at. I've thought about buying a backup plucker or just having two. So you can just, really speed things up. But yeah, like when the plucker goes down, that is a miserable day because all of a sudden you're hand plucking.
Yep.
Or at least a neighbor who has 3 of them.
I was going to say, how many? You have 3, don't you, Jason?
Yeah, I have 3 of them.
Hey, what's up, neighbor?
The backup one's the one we'll loan
You want to sell one?
Yeah, it's like, man, because the only way you're going to know it goes out is on plucker day, on chicken day. And you're like,
yep. That's when it breaks.
Unless you know somebody who has one like right now, like you need a backup for sure.
That happened to us one year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the first ones we had, it broke or something. And then I ordered another one. I'm like, and then we just found another secondhand one. It's like, nope, we're always going to have one. And then if anybody ever asks to borrow one, they can borrow the backup.
Yeah.
So do you guys have drying racks for your chickens after you soak them in water? Do you put them on a drying rack or do you just hand rinse them and shake them and then put your bags on them?
Yeah, we put them on the table and kind of air dry them. But yeah, I have a fan, I put up my little DeWalt fan on them. Yeah. You have one?
We just built one this year and we should have done it years ago. We just did a lot of PVC pipe
Oh,
It's nice because it gets the water out better, but then like also because we would just always like play like the Jenga game and just try to stack the chickens upside down on the table and see how many we could stack before they fell.
yeah.
That's kind of what we
Ben's
do.
laughing because that's what he does.
Yep.
Yeah. And then one person has to hold the chicken and the other one puts the bag over it. So if you have the drying rack, it gets all the water out. And then when they're on the drying rack, you can put your bag on them. Yeah.
So we don't really bag whole chickens,
hold a turkey,
but
okay.
We've thought about doing that for the 12 that we usually keep whole per batch. But we've helped people butcher chickens who have drying racks, and honestly, it's the way to go. If we kept more whole chickens, I'd probably build one.
So if anybody's thinking about building a drying rack, do it. Like we never have. We've always just played the Jenga game, and yeah, it was nice to have a drying rack. So that was our week in a nutshell. Did you butcher any chickens this weekend, Ben?
Can't say that I did. I played in the mud this weekend. So this weekend, I finally poured concrete this weekend. It was like leading up to the weekend. It rained every single day. It even rained on Saturday, the day we did concrete, and we just went ahead and did it anyways. So I started with good intentions on Saturday. I had called 2 months ago, our local equipment rental place, and I asked them if they had a mud mixer. Yeah, we got one of those. I was like, okay, cool. Called, it was Thursday, so 2 days before needing it. I was like, hey, do you have a mud mixer? Different guy. Oh, yeah. So I go down there. I didn't go look at what they had in the yard, because, the yard's around back behind the rental place. I walk inside, they need all this stuff, rent the thing, a deposit, all that stuff, get the receipt, pull around to the back, and it's a regular concrete mixer. I was like, that's not, like, I explained to the guy what I'm looking for. Like, it's a mud mixer. That's the brand name. It's got a hopper. You dump the dry mix in, you hook water to it. It's got an auger, and you have a perfect mix that comes out the end. And the guy in the yard that I'm telling this to is like kind of scratching his head, and he's like, I think I've seen those before. Those are really cool. So basically I wasted like a whole portion of my morning dealing with this. I didn't get the concrete mixer that they were trying to rent to me because I can't get it back to where I was pouring mud. So I come home and I'm getting on the internet. I'm thinking about going and buying one of these mud mixers, but they're $3,400 at Home Depot. It's like, I am not paying $3,400 for something I'm going to use once. And I don't see needing it again for a long time. Like, that's a lot of money just to use it once. So I start looking around. By this time, it's almost noon. And I call a Sunbelt rental place. And I ask the guy, I was like, hey, I'm looking for this thing. And he goes, yeah, I have that. I was like, okay, let me clarify before I drive an hour to go rent this thing. And he's like, no, it's the brand name mud mixer. And he kind of describes it. And I was like, hey, that's actually exactly what I'm looking for. Awesome. So drove out there, made it there like 10 minutes before they closed on Saturday. This is noon now. I've lost the cool of the morning to do concrete. Get it rented. It's what I need. Get back. Me and the boys wolf some lunch and then get out there. And I think we were done by 6:30. We started using this mud mixer. It's really cool. Like, it's really cool. If anybody's ever seen one, there's a lot of YouTubers that I've seen videos by. I guess Mud Mixer, the company, will sponsor people and send them one. I thought about hitting them up, but at the same time, it's like, I'm really picky about what kind of products we shill for. That's a really high price point, and I do not feel that is a justifiable price for the quality of the tool. So we're using this thing, and we can see the speed that it's going. I was like, okay, it does about a bag every 2 minutes. These are 80-pound bags. So let's see, maybe even slower than that. And it's looking like if we just use just the one mixer, we're going to be doing concrete until midnight. So I go get the old rusty one I got. It's a regular, drum mixer. And we set that up. And so two of the boys and me are on one side, two of the boys are on the other side, and we just tag teamed it going around. Well, we made it about halfway, and that mud mixer quit working. Like, it died. I probably, like, it's going to be on the YouTube video when the video comes out, so I'll talk about it here. I am not about to use just one concrete mixer and have this project take all day long. You know, we already lost the morning. So I get my voltmeter out and I start checking over this thing. Basically what it was there's a GFCI on the power cord, and it's kind of this big clunky thing. It's got buttons on it. And I can tell someone has been in it already because the screws are all like rounded off from someone getting a screwdriver in there. And then it's got like rubber weather stripping all the way around it. And there's a spot where the weather stripping is not like smashed in between the two halves of the clamshell. I was like, okay, so this thing probably got water in it. It's a GFCI, so it probably fried. So I took that sucker off. I got a regular extension cord end and I wired that sucker on there and we kept using it. You know, reading my rental agreement. Yeah, that's a no-no. You don't tamper with rented equipment, but we needed it, and I'm not driving. You know, it's 2 hours round trip, 2 hours to the rental place, 2 hours back. Plus, they were closed. It was the weekend. Yeah, so I hot wired that sucker back together. It worked fine. We used it the rest of the job. We were done by like 6 o'clock. And then it started raining. Like, we came inside to, you know, eat dinner and all that stuff, end of the night. And I look outside and it's like raining. So we're running out there grabbing plastic and tarps and everything to try to cover the cement. And after it was done raining, we had to go back out there and trowel everything because it kind of did a little bit of damage, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, I took that concrete mixer back today, and I was like, hey, look, buddy, like, this thing quit on me in the middle of the job. And he gives me a weird look and he's like, why didn't you call? I was like, call who? You were the guy I dealt with, and you were talking about how you're excited to leave for the weekend. And he's like, oh, we have 24-hour service. I would have came back down here. It's like, ugh. So yeah, it was kind of funny, but we got it done. And no, I did not tell them I took the end of their power cord off and put my own on just so I could keep using the thing. But yeah, all in all, like, if anybody's thinking about renting a mud mixer to do some concrete work, if you're working by yourself, you cannot beat that thing. As long as you keep that hopper filled with concrete, you just dial in your water and you get your mix to where you're happy with it, you know, dry or wet, whatever you want. Once you get it dialed in, it just sits there and just drops concrete indefinitely, and as long as you keep the hopper filled. Really cool machine. I just don't feel that it's as valuable as that price tag. That's a pretty high price for, you know, $100 in scrap metal. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just the fabricator in me. Like, I look at it and I see the value of the metal and how much it would cost me to make that thing. It's like, yeah, I could build this thing for like $500 or $600, and they're charging a lot of money for it. But renting it's not bad. It was $100 for the weekend, so that wasn't bad. Kind of a hassle having it break, but yeah. So we got all of our concrete in, and I ended up we went out and we troweled a little bit, kind of smoothed it out a little bit, and left it. And I ended up not touching it yesterday, which was Sunday. Today we went and we cleaned everything up, pulled all the stakes and the forms and everything. And there's a few spots that I'm probably going to have to like patch on the step downs that are just real ugly. Places I overlooked, places the boys were working and I didn't go micromanage. Now I'm trying. It's hard. Like, having your sons help you, there's a fine line between micromanaging and just letting them do it. And I'm having to learn to just let them do it and trust them. Because, you know, micromanaging, it only works for so long. It makes them never want to work with you again if they're always being micromanaged. And so it was like, well, like, they're doing all right. They're mixing mud. It looks good. And they're having fun doing it. If I go over there and start micromanaging, they're just going to be miserable. So I butted out. Yeah, maybe a little bit of micromanaging would have been okay. But it's all right. It's nothing I can't fix. It looks good. It's kind of cool to have concrete poured. It feels very, like, I guess, permanent. So yeah, we got our footer poured. It was a push. It was 170 bags that we hand mixed. By the end of the day, the old rusty concrete mixer was actually faster than the mud mixer. So, I mean, do with that what you will. Mud mixer's a lot less work.
I see. Yeah. I imagine when you're doing concrete too, like a lot less work is better.
Like, so if I had to pour a slab, I've thought about pouring a slab in the bottom of the barn because it's just dirt down there. All the stalls are dirt except for 2 of them. There's like 6 stalls in there. And we just use it as a workspace. And I've thought it would be really nice to have a slab down there to work on. Not to say that the dirt's actually more comfortable because it's got some give to it, whereas concrete doesn't. But if I was going to do that, I could just, go in there, buy the concrete, and then just bring it in there and just dump all the concrete on the ground, pour the slab. It would be a really easy way to pour a slab. It's just time consuming. But if you're working by yourself, like, man, you can't beat it. All you got to do is sit there and just carry bags over. Machine? Yeah, with that machine. Yeah, it's a cool little machine.
Have you priced out what it is to get a concrete truck there versus, like, I know for us it was cheaper to have a concrete truck come than it is to get bagged concrete.
So the concrete truck was about the same price, but I would have had to have rented a pump, and that was the deciding factor. Was I didn't want to rent a pump. I think the pump was only going to be like $300, but still, it's like, next time we have concrete to pour like this, we're definitely doing a truck, because that was a lot longer than it should have been. We could have been done in like 2 hours if we had had a truck.
I was just surprised it's the same price, or it was cheaper for us to have a truck come when we were doing one of the barns. We were doing footings, and I priced it out, and I'm like, why would you want to mix it yourself if I can have a truck come for less money and dump it in my sonotube versus having to hand mix it? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You would think it'd be cheaper to buy the bags.
Once upon a time it was. Yeah. It wasn't too much. It wasn't like, it was a negligible amount. But
right.
There are some projects, having teenage boys, there are some projects that it's better to choose the manual option, because the work does them good. Like, all day yesterday, everybody was tired, but everybody was in such good moods. Like, the fighting and griping was to a minimum. They were even all right today. So it's like, yeah, a little manual labor does you good every now and then. Yeah. Tell you what, after doing a project like that was an all hands on deck project. I am very, very much going to miss my boys in a few years when they start, going out and doing their own thing and getting jobs and, all that stuff. I am dreading the day that it's just me and the girls. I mean, not to say the girls food and be like, well, not to say the girls aren't helpful, but it's the having nearly grown men at my disposal at all times. It's pretty handy. Like, it's pretty really handy. Like, hey, go rip that tree out, and they gladly go do it.
I bet.
Jason might need to borrow him during kitchen demo.
One of these days. I mean, some concrete over here.
Hey, if you ever need some manual labor, I've got a crew.
Yeah,
and they're good workers too. They're all to the point. Even Corbin's 12, and he's able to put out a good amount of work. But Brett's bigger than me, and then the twins, they're both 17. They're almost 18, and all 3 of the bigger boys, they're putting out a man's work, and it's amazing to watch. It's weird to just look at them working and go, how did I get here? Like, they were this big like last year, and here it is watching them lug around 80-pound bags of concrete like it's nothing, and I'm over here like struggling. It's like, man, I wish I was 17 again.
Yeah, it is great to be aware of that. It's almost like it like surprises you when you notice that.
Yeah.
It's like you're just working or whatever during the day, and all of a sudden you look over and you're like, like what happened? Like
you're not a
when we
little
were
kid.
doing our chicken butchering workshop, like our daughter, she was like without even like saying anything, she just like she butchered her 8 chickens by herself, like like without even telling her like, hey, can you help us out, or like, hey,
she just jumped in.
Chickens today, like it wasn't even none of that. She just jumped in and like just did it, and so it was. I mean, that was like a huge help. But yeah, it's so wild to think about. Man, we're gonna be a bunch of old dudes one day.
Hey, I got my like 12 gray hairs poking out, so I'm on my way.
I'm in my prime, man. I'm in my prime.
Right. I don't got no gray hair. What are you talking about?
Hey, the way I feel about it, I'll wear it like a badge of honor. The first couple gray hairs that poked out of my beard, and it was like, yeah, it's about time. Like I'm almost 40, and I keep waiting for them.
Yeah, you can really see it when you go back and watch these old videos of ours. You're like, man, like that seems such a long time ago.
Man, going back and watching some older videos, man, I have aged like milk in the past 5 years. Like before we left California, seeing what I looked like versus seeing what I look like now, it's like, holy mackerel! I have aged a lot just in 5 years. Like it's crazy. The hairline has moved back like substantially. That's what I notice. I noticed the older videos. It's like, oh wow, I had a lot of hair. I guess I really am starting to lose my hair.
I don't go back and watch older videos, and now I really don't want to.
Yeah. When I get senile, and I'm gonna have to go back and remember.
Hey, as long as you keep eating your animal fats, you won't go get your dementia.
Yeah, there you go. That's right, man. We're gonna be.
I have to be careful. You can't say stuff like that on YouTube. We'll get canceled.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, that was kind of my week highlight right there. It was a good time. It was a really good time. It's kind of weird.
What's the next step after that?
So, block is the next thing. We're gonna start working on. First, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get all of the pylons mortared in, which we've got to dig some dirt out to get down to the footers that are down there. I'm gonna unstack block, mortar it, restack it, all that stuff, and then we got to build the footer wall, all sorts of stuff. But as soon as we get that wall and get our mud sill on, or sill plate on, that's my next inspection. But there's a lot of other stuff. Like I can start framing on the floor of the deck. So I'm gonna try to get floor of the deck ready for inspection. And I'm gonna try to get the sill plate portion ready for inspection, and then I can just get it all inspected all at once, and then move on to the next step. So it's coming along. It was weird. I woke up this morning and I was sitting drinking coffee, thinking about where we're at with the project, and it was like, oh wow, like it's happening. Like we're finally moving forward on it. Like stuff is finally happening. Theoretically, as long as I stay on it, we could have our addition done sooner than later.
That's great, man.
Be drinking coffee in your deck before you know it.
Yeah, that's what I'm. It would be really cool if I could finish the deck and the roof and like the whole project, and I could sit out there in the morning and drink my coffee. Like that would be where it's at. Like I haven't had a patio space since we left California, and I almost forget what it was like
on a cool, crisp fall morning.
Yes,
forget about
sit out there, drink your coffee, shiver a little bit.
Forget about it. Yeah. Oh man.
You guys can do that all winter long. You don't get that cold.
I don't know. There's about 3 to 5 days out of the year that are too cold. Like there was one morning I used to go down when we first moved in here, and we had just had Buggy, and she was super colicky, and so I didn't want to make any noise in here, and so I'd get my coffee and I'd go down to the barn, and I'd just sit down in the barn and wait until the sun came up, and I'd just drink my coffee. Well, there was one morning, I think I had a cold, so my throat didn't feel good, and I didn't feel good, and I'm just sitting there, and I'd set my coffee down, and it's kind of cold in December, and it was a particularly cold morning, and I reached over and grabbed my coffee and went to take a swig. I was probably halfway done with it, and it doesn't swig. I look in there and it's frozen on the top to the point where it wouldn't come out. It's like, okay, maybe it's a little cold to be sitting out here drinking coffee.
That's funny.
That was a first for me. I've never had that happen.
That's what they call iced coffee, right?
Or something.
So you had to put some projects on hold, Al, because of the storm. Like you got to switch it up.
Yep. Yep.
Is that right? Yeah.
Trying to figure out, what we're gonna do after, what we're gonna do before, and what's taking priority for sure.
I see. Yeah.
We haven't got above the pond to see what it's like out there, so at some point we gotta, once we get the other culvert fixed, we'll get out there and we can see what's going on. But on the same hand, I don't know if I want to know what happened to the trails and the rest of the road.
For sure.
I'm hoping there's no other damage, but I wouldn't have thought we had the damage we do have. So you guys still been hot down there, and like your drought, is your grass growing and the pastures growing, or is there a lot of people not being able to hay, or their hay fields not growing back? Do you know?
I'm not sure about that, but I mean, I definitely see it's starting to green up here.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to green up. I noticed stuff in the garden that is kind of stalled out is starting to like really put on some new growth, and like we have a whole bed of bell peppers, and they only made it to like a foot tall and have just stalled out. They've been that way for, I don't know, a month and a half. And walking out, looking at everything yesterday, it's like, hey, like those peppers have really put on some growth in the past week. So like it's everything's starting to green up again. It's been hot, but it hasn't been like real bad. Like yesterday and today, honestly, were beautiful. Yesterday or Saturday when we were doing concrete, like it was warm, but it wasn't like nasty miserable. It kind of off and on sprinkled all day, so it was kind of overcast, but cool and breezy at the same time. So I don't know, it's nice. I did see we're supposed to have like, what was it, like 76 degrees in the next couple days. Like that's nice. We haven't seen 70 degrees in a while, so I'll take it.
Yeah, this week reminds me of when we very first moved in 2016, where even for like 10, 15 minutes, it would rain every single, like in the summer, it would rain every single night. Just enough to water the garden. Like I remember, like for the first 2 years we lived here in the area, we didn't water the garden one time, not even with a hose, because it rained just enough to water it every single morning. And I remember my old neighbor. He was an old guy. Like he lived there his whole life, and he's just like, I was like, hey, how often do you water it? Because he had a big garden. He's like, I never water my garden. I used to think that was so bizarre. I was like, really? I was like, this guy never waters his garden. I was like, are you kidding me? And then like, sure enough, like I'm like, yeah, you didn't have to. But then it seemed like after those 2 years, it was like, it wasn't like that again, So this weather reminds me of that, which is nice.
I'm just happy we're finally getting some consistent rain. I mean, it's pretty much rained every single day for like a week and a half, 2 weeks now. Like maybe not a lot of rain, but you'll get some rain. And then, every 2 days you'll get like a half an inch or something like that. So it's enough to where the humidity is now 90% throughout the day. And the mosquitoes are very, very active. So yeah, I'll take it though.
Yeah.
Jason's like, all right, guys,
up out here.
I'm getting eaten up. Let's wrap it up.
Right. We were 51 degrees this morning.
You what?
It was 51 out here this morning.
Oh, man. Rub it in.
It was 80 for a high. So that was a little bit
That's
warmer
good.
again. We've been in the 70s the last
I'm
few
waiting for
days.
you to come on with your hoodie on one of these
Yeah.
any day now, right?
It'll be as soon as we get back into the burr months. It'll be September, and I'll come in wearing the hoodie and be like, "Yeah, guys, it's like 40 degrees
Oh,
right
yeah.
now."
End of August, it'll start cooling off a lot.
Ooh, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Hey, that was the weirdest thing, like a concept that I'd never had. Living in Southern California my whole life. When we were on the road and we made it to like New England, we were up in New England in the end of August, and there's already fall colors starting. And I was like, did we like go through a time warp and it's like October, November or something like that? Because there's fall colors and it's August. And talking to people, they're like, they look at you crazy. Like, what do you mean fall colors? Yeah, August is the normal time for colors to start. And it was just like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like end of August, September. October's pushing it. Depends on how dry and how wet it's been for the year.
All right, guys. Well, we're a little bit over an hour. I think that was a good conversation. A good catch up for the week.
Good therapy session.
Yep.
Yeah, therapy session. So, yeah, we'll end it there. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast and really appreciate it. If you have not, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Or if you listen to us on iTunes, leave a rating, 5 stars, 5 gold stars. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. And thank you guys for listening. And hope everyone has an awesome week. Thank you.
Catch you guys next week.
Later, everybody.